Hey guys, welcome to our daily encounter. One of the major things that is emphasized in Deuteronomy chapter 12 is the fact that the people were to take their offerings, their sacrifices, and really their service to God at the place that God would designate. This is brought out several times within the chapter. One example of this is in verse 11, where it says, then it shall come about that the place in which the Lord your God will choose for his name to dwell, there you shall bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes and your contributions of your hands, and all your choice votive offerings, which you will vow to the Lord. And then he says in verse 13, be careful that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place you see. And he goes on to talk about also not offering these things up at the gate and things like that. In other words, the Lord is telling them, look, if you want to offer up your sacrifices, you got to come to me. It's as though God is saying, you are going to approach me on my terms, not on your terms, which was a way to differentiate between Yahweh and the gods that were in that area. The gods that they served, they could basically worship anywhere they wanted to, under every green tree, in any place. But the Lord is saying, I'm not that type of God. I'm not a pocket-sized God that you can carry around and just think that you can worship me on your terms when it's convenient for you and where it's convenient for you. The Lord is showing them that if you want to worship me and serve me, you've got to come to where I will designate, where I say that I'm going to dwell, and you come to me to bring your offerings. And so this shows that, they had to go to God on his terms. And I think that's a very important thing for us to remember too in our lives, because maybe sometimes we think that God ought to somehow bend to our whims and somehow submit to our way of doing things, and that we're just going to do our own thing and just expect God to go along with it. But we have to realize that it's God's will that we should submit to. It should be us going to God. In James chapter 4 it says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. In other words, we go after God and he'll meet us there when we go after him. But we have to be willing to make the journey to seek him, to desire him, to be devoted to him, to be committed to him, to submit to him. We have to approach God on his terms. And it's not that we can just live our own lives however we want and then expect God to somehow conform to what we want, but rather we ought to be constantly submitting our will and bending our will to his, and in that way cultivate a deep abiding relationship with him. We have to remember that he is God and we are not. He is the ultimate authority in all of creation and all of existence. He is the supreme authority of all things. And so it's for us then to first submit to him and to seek him out on his terms, and him being the loving and compassionate Father that he is, he will come to meet us. Obviously, we can't make our way all the way to God. We fall short. We're fallible human beings. The Lord will meet us where, on that journey. But at the same time, we have to realize that we have to be seeking him and putting his will above everything else. And so this is very important when it comes to us wanting to experience the presence of God every day. And one of the first rules of experiencing God's presence and abiding in the presence of God is submission. Submission and humility. Humble yourselves. It says that God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. The Lord will come to those who come to him with a humble heart, with a submissive heart, who have a heart to bend to his will and his purpose and his plan for their life. And it's those who will really experience the Lord. They're the ones that will have that deep, abiding relationship with him. The ones who want God to just do things the way that they want to and want God just to go along with what they're doing are not going to really have that deep, abiding relationship. And so today we ought to be encouraged to say, you know what? I'm going to meet God on his terms. Whatever God says I need to do to draw close to him, whatever the Lord says I need to get rid of in my life or add on to my life, whatever it might be, I'm going to do it because I desire a relationship with God, and I'm willing to do anything that he asks me to do in order to cultivate that and to deepen that. So again, hopefully our reading will help us do that today. And with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.